Cool. All right. Well, I hope all of you had a great Thanksgiving. So we do these webinars every couple months. We'll be doing a few more in the next month or so to deep dive into some of these topics. If you want more information or more in-depth stuff, you can go to our YouTube, and we typically have classes that we have taught in the past on there. The ones that I would probably skip over, the ones I'm running Facebook ads, because about a month ago, Facebook pushed out their Andromeda update, which essentially completely changed how the ads work. Um, it made it in some ways less complicated and in some ways more. It does seem to be working well though. But we'll be doing the one on Facebook and Instagram ads here in the next 2 months. So if you're interested, you'll get a text about it. But yeah, we're just over, so let's jump into it. This should run 60 to 90 minutes. We'll have a Q&A at the end if you have any questions. Also, if you have any questions while we're going, you just throw them in the chat, and I will jump into it when I get to a pausing point. And yeah, let's go. So what we will cover today, first of all, who I am and why you should even listen to me or care, why this stuff is important, what makes the top 1% shops that we work with different, because it is really interesting to see the range, because we work with solo studios and all the way up to franchises, and I think our biggest shop has 27 artists in it, street shops that have $50 minimums, people that have $4,000 minimums, and everywhere in between. So we've been able to see a ton of different shops, ton of different cultures, see what works, what doesn't work, and what makes the top 1% different. It's interesting because I see every shop that's doing really well, more or less doing the same thing or having the same systems in place. So next thing is knowing your numbers. I've met 2 shops out of the, I would say at least 1,000 I've talked to that actually know all their numbers. And it's super important, especially if you're going to do any kind of marketing, especially paid stuff, because it lets you know what you can spend to acquire a client, still be profitable, stuff like that. Your website and SEO, paid ads, meta ads, Google ads, automated follow-up systems, CRM, which we'll get into what it is if you have not heard of that before. Why use a digital consent form? It's actually amazing. Every shop should be using a digital consent form. I've only met 2 health inspectors in 2 counties that said that it has to be paper. Everywhere else has been able to do digital. Sales Tactics 101 for tattoo shops, the importance of Google reviews, tools to use, what we as Inklink does, and then we'll jump into a Q&A. So who am I? My name is Jesse Drock. I am the owner of Inklink. We're a marketing company that works exclusively with tattoo shops. I've been doing marketing for about 11 years now. When I started, I was building my own company. And to this point, I've built 3 companies to over $1 million a year. So, and it's all been on the back of marketing. A lot of it, like I implement every system that we're going to talk about. It's why I believe in this stuff so much, is I know it works extremely well. And as you can see in the pictures, because I get this question all the time, yes, I do have tattoos. About half of my body is tattooed. So why listen to me? I cut my teeth in one of the most competitive industries on the planet, the gym industry, the health and fitness industry, which is fairly cutthroat. Started that in 2016, grew it, thought it was going to be what I did for the rest of my life. And then that little thing in 2020 happened where it shut down gyms for 2 years and watched my business essentially shut down in the course of 2 weeks, and had to fire all my employees. And it was great. It was a fun time. I don't think I've ever been that stressed out in my entire life. But it taught me a lot of really good stuff. That's where I found the passion for marketing. That's how I grew that business. And the lessons I've taken from it to what I do now have been paramount to getting where I am and getting the shops that we work with to where they are. So we currently work with 143 tattoo shops here in the US, handful overseas. I've been working in marketing for tattoo shops for 5 years now. And I want to bring that up because everybody knows the last 2 to 3 years how many new shops have popped up, new artists have popped up. But also I've noticed in the last 6 months how many marketing companies for tattoo shops have popped up. Like that is all I see on my Facebook and Instagram feed is marketing shop for tattoo shops. So yeah, I've been doing this for about 5 years. I'm not someone who jumped on a trend when I started doing it. As far as I know, we were the only ones that did it. but it's given me a good advantage of getting to know shops, shop owners, and again, what works without having to guess. So the information in this seminar is from that 5 years of working with tattoo shops. We spent nearly $4 million in advertising for tattoo shops. So what I'm going over, like, it's not like I think this is going to work. This will probably work. Like, I'm a very analytical, numbers driven kind of person. The numbers never lie. So we follow those. So everything that I talk about, like, we have backed up in numbers, in data. So why is this stuff important? Honestly, love it or hate it, these are the facts, and everybody here knows it. How much the industry has grown. From 2020 to 2030, the industry will have doubled, which is mind-boggling how fast the industry is growing. The flip side of that is how slow shops have been the last 2 years. But there's still plenty of people getting tattooed. The pie is just getting cut thinner and thinner, and like it's going to grow from now until 2030, about another 50% of what it's at right now. I think it's 50 to 70%. So like if you think it's busy now, like it's just starting. So the stuff that we talk about is going to become almost, I would say, mandatory for most shops over the next couple of years. And essentially starting to do this stuff now makes you one of the early adopters. And like I said, the industries that I see doing this, or the shops I see doing this, are the ones that are doing extremely well. There's more outsiders. I've met more shop owners that have a business background in the last year than I have my entire life. Like I said, marketing is becoming the standard, especially with the way Instagram, TikTok, Facebook have changed how essentially their algorithms work. Like Instagram made a huge change about a year and a half ago because it wants people to be more like TikTok. But it really screwed tattoo artists and screwed them posting pictures and getting a ton of engagement. And they're continuing to do that because, again, they don't care what's good for the tattoo industry at all. They care what's going to bring them money and keep people on their platform. And to them right now, that is essentially doing TikTok dances and stuff like that. 2026 is looking like more of 2025. I mean, I can't tell you how many shop owners I've talked to that have been doing this for 30 years and say 2025 for them was worse than 2008, which is, again, mind-boggling because we're not technically in a recession or there's no housing crisis, but it's been really bad. But the good thing is, like I said, still some shops are still growing like crazy. There are a ton of shops being extremely successful right now. And yeah, we'll jump into what they're doing differently. So if you want to grow your shop, I recommend taking notes. We will send out a replay, but I've noticed, and I do this myself if I go to a seminar, but there's two types of people. There's ones who watch, oh, I think I should do that, and then just never do it and nothing changes. And there's ones who are serious about growing their shop, and just like my only recommendation, take 1 to 2 things that you learn and do them this week. That'll get you a few steps closer if your shop is slow. And there's a few things that are really, really easy that you guys can implement that have a huge, huge growth factor with them. And again, they're super simple. So, all right, let us dive in. So what makes the top 1% shops different? Well, they run their shops more like a business. And I know a lot of shop owners don't like to hear that because tattoo industry is very anti-corporation, anti-establishment. And running your shop like a business doesn't mean you have to be like, okay, this is a 9 to 5. Everybody gets health care. Here's your vacation days, stuff like that. But it's essentially running the back end more like the business, doing the books, stuff like that. A lot more of the shop owners I talk to, like I said, have some kind of business background. Even if they are tattoo artists, they went to college for business, and so they know how well it works. They have SOPs, and SOP is a standard operating procedure. Essentially, it can be a video or a checkoff sheet that when you do whatever this one process is, let's say cleaning your machine, you do it this way every single time. There's an SOP for it. So just the same things are done the same way every single time. You'd be amazed how much simpler that makes everything, because so many less things go wrong. I mean, we have SOPs for when people pick up phones, what to say, stuff like that. SOPs are a game changer. And I guarantee you, I know it sounds kind of like, oh, I don't want to make people do the same thing every single time. But they work extremely well. and you'll notice an immediate difference when people start doing it. Oh, next thing is they're hiring the right people. Uh, can't tell you how many times I've talked to a shop owner and they are not like, there's so much drama in my shop, or these people are lazy, or they're no showing clients when they come in, stuff like that. Hiring the right people is a game changer. Taking extra time to actually interview people and stuff like that. If you have to get them to move to you, it everybody's in a, I would assume that anybody in here has been in a shop that has just a great chemistry and ones that you just feel the tension in the air when you walk in. It's two insanely different places to work. Hiring the right people is huge. It makes one, you have so much less stress. Because I have in the past made some really shitty hires, and I hated going to work because I knew as soon as I walked in, there was going to be a dumpster fire for me to have to try to put out. So hiring the right people is one of the biggest things I can say. I personally have expanded my hiring process to almost three times what it was, but now I have a team of rock stars, and it's one of those things like if I don't know, got in a car accident, was in a coma for a month, I know my company would run totally fine without me. And that peace of mind in the back of your head is 100% worth taking the extra time to hire the correct people. They invest in marketing. It's one of the biggest changes that I've seen over the last 5 years is how much money tattoo shops are starting to put into their marketing and investing. Again, part of it is how many more artists are out there right now. It's it's an interesting time where obviously the art and the work is important, but people are looking for an experience, like a good experience. Like when I first got tattooed in was it 2021, it was very much get in, sit down, shut the fuck up, get tattooed, get out. You can't do that these days, or else that person will never come out and they'll leave you a bad review, and you're screwed. So these days, I mean, if you see people that aren't as good an artist, but they're still booked out, I guarantee you they are a fun person to sit with. My tattoo artist here in town, he's done about 50% of my body. He's an awesome dude, and I don't mind sitting with him for 6 to 8 hours. So I keep going back to him. I'm traveling right now to Boise to get my sleeve done. It's 6 hours round trip. The artist is not cheap. Just a cool dude. Met him at the Evergreen. Just a nice, cool dude I can sit with for 8 to 9 hours a time. And, obviously the art is amazing too. But people are looking for the experience more than the art because there's just so many good artists out there right now. Um, top 1% shops, they take tasks off their plate. There's an amazing book called Who, Not How. It's an audio book too. Cannot recommend it enough. And it essentially says if you could hire somebody for $10 an hour to do this and you're making $150 an hour getting tattooed, why are you still doing this $10 an hour task? You could be tattooing instead. Get this off your plate. It's a very high level overview of the book, but I can't recommend it enough. It's a game changer. And I know here in the US, I'm in Washington State, minimum wages is not cheap. There's sites like Fiverr.com or Upwork.com where you can hire freelancers. You can hire them here in the US. You can hire them in Colombia, the Philippines, South Africa. There where like I have an employee in South Africa and she has a 3-bedroom house and it costs her $500 a month to rent. The dollar goes a lot further over there. I would almost kill for those kind of prices right now. But you still pay them a great wage and you're getting done what you cost somebody here $30, $40 an hour to do. Having money in the bank, saving for bad months, retiring, or growing your shop is huge. I know taxes and stuff like that can sometimes be a gray area in the tattoo world, but having some kind of savings is, again, just being able to either invest in your shop, or if you have a bad month, not having that stress is worth having some money in the bank. In the business world, what's said is you should have 3 to 6 months of being enough to run your business for 3 to 6 months in the bank in case just everything shut down completely. And I had that happen last December. I had Stripe, our payment processor. I changed my card on file and they literally froze my account for free 3 months. Like nothing came through. And luckily I had that in the bank. I still panicked a lot, don't get me wrong. And I called them every single fucking day. But like I would have been screwed if I didn't have that money in the bank. And like I mentioned, these days it's all about the experience. There's so many fantastic artists out there. It's just a different world. All right, so number one thing, knowing your numbers. And again, I've met two shops that know this. So the numbers you must know to grow. I mean, some of them are the obvious ones. Your gross income, your net income, like what are your profit margins? What is the average operating cost of your shop every single month? Now, the ones that most shops aren't knowing or don't know, what is the cost to acquire a new client with marketing? Like if you spend $100, how many clients are you going to get in a chair getting tattooed? What is the lifetime value of a client? This is one of the biggest numbers every shop should know. Obviously, people get many different kinds of tattoos, big, small. They come in once, they come in, they're a lifetime client. But knowing the average lifetime value, and essentially how you get this is you look back as far as you can, take the amount of money the shop has made and divide it by the number of clients. Not the number of tattoos, but the number of clients that came in. And you will get kind of an average lifetime value of your clients. Um, it's especially good to know if you're doing any, I mean, everybody should know it, but if you're doing marketing, because if you know over the lifetime value of a client, you're going to make $4,000. It doesn't matter if it costs you $200 to acquire a client. I'll do that every single day. That's a huge return on investment if you compare it to the stock market or anything like that. But if you figure out that the lifetime value of a client is $300, first of all, if it is, something's very wrong. And you're spending $300 to get a client, or even 150 if you're working at somebody's shop and they get 50%, like you're just SOL there. So knowing the lifetime value is huge of a client. What is the average cost of a single tattoo that goes out of your shop? And with this one, you would take the total income and divide it by the number of tattoos done, and you'll get the average price of a tattoo done in your shop. And again, money in the bank, kind of like I mentioned, is extremely important. And so after you know those numbers, and again, there's two things I will highly recommend. There's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, but if you're going to do two things, one of them would be to figure out your numbers 100%, because you can do a lot just from knowing that. But if you know your numbers and you can make a 5% difference in every single one of those numbers, that's a huge difference in your profit margin. And everybody can wiggle 5% out of their numbers, out of each one. That makes that, I mean, if you made an extra 30% starting next month, this month, like that's a game changer for most shops and most artists. And it can be done as soon as you know your numbers. Because you know where you can fudge, where you can move things around, what can be cut, what can be added, stuff like that. So there's a software I recommend. We're not affiliated with them at all. It's called Get Sequence. And me personally, if you put money in my bank account, I will spend it. It is just how I am. It is unfortunate, but I have no self-control. So I think it's $20 to $30 a month. And essentially what it does, as soon as money hits your business account or whatever account you put it into, it triggers an automation, and you can set this up percentage, you can set it up certain amount, whatever you want, that it will push it into any other account you have. You can have it pushed into investments, savings, retirement funds, stuff like that. It is, for me, it was a game changer because, again, I'll be the first to admit I'm not great with money. If I see it in my bank account, I want to go do something fun or travel somewhere. This automatically puts it where it needs to be with no thought about it. It's the best. I can't remember if it's $20 or $30 a month, but it's one of the best investments I ever made. So again, Get Sequence, can't recommend it enough. All right, getting more clients for. Did anybody have any questions about that before I jump into getting more clients from your website? Cool. If you do put it in, I'll check it out. But awesome. All right, so your website. It should be easy for someone to book a consultation or call. If people have to go through more than one page to book with you, there's too much friction. For every time somebody has to click on a button or go to a new page, you lose 7% of your conversions. People are insanely lazy and have insanely short attention spans these days. And if it is not instant gratification, they are on to the next one. And again, I'm guilty of doing this myself. If a website takes more than like 3 seconds to load, I'm just going to the next website. It needs to be easy to see your shop's work. With our websites we build or our landing pages, we put them on right there. When it loads in, they can see a carousel of the shop's work. A little introduction about yourself goes a long way, especially if you're having issues with no-shows. Um, when somebody fills out a form for a consultation or they book a consultation over the phone, recommend texting them, and we'll get into how to automate this stuff. But just a quick introduction of the shop, who you are. Again, people want to know who they're sitting with. And even in your ads, if you can just talk a little bit about yourself or put it on the landing page, it actually does a lot. I know a lot of people don't like to be on camera, but it does help. So there's a website called gtmetrics.com, is 100% free, but you can take your URL, put it into GTmetrix, and it'll tell you how fast your page loads. You are looking for an A. B is acceptable, but if it's a C or below, you need to change. Typically, it is your hosting, which is a very easy change. Typically, if you're going to get new hosting, you can just Google fast website hosting and things will come up. The company that you're transferring it to can do it for you. But that is one of the easiest things to help your website conversions is check your page speed on GTmetrix. Having an easy to find FAQ section. Not everybody. We see a lot of people coming into tattoo shops for their first time tattoos, and the amount of questions they have is sometimes kind of mind numbing. So having an FAQ that's easy to find is huge, and it will save headache for front desk people and artists. And then I always recommend qualifying people before they can schedule a consultation. Now, there's kind of a fine line with this. Um, you don't want to ask too many questions because people just won't fill it out. But we typically ask anywhere between 9 to 12 questions. Obviously, the basic stuff, the contact information, description of tattoo, placement size, reference images. But we also like to put a page in there that says, hey, our shop minimum is $100. Our hourly range is whatever, 150 to 250. And the range for a 4 inch by 4 inch by 4 inch tattoo is typically $300 to $500 or whatever your pricing is. And that seems to help a ton because if your shop minimum is $150, somebody's looking for a $30 banger, you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste their time. So we've noticed that helps a ton. Highly recommend installing Google Analytics on your website. One of the best things with this is you'll see how long people are staying on your website. And if you notice everybody's bouncing within a couple of seconds, you know you have a bad website that's not resonating with people. It's just a piece of tag that you can install. Again, you can hire someone on Fiverr for $10 to do this for you. But it's worth seeing how long people are staying on your website to see if it's resonating and people enjoy it. Now we're going to jump into SEO, which is a very confusing and interesting topic. 2 seconds. So the first thing I want to talk about with it is SEO worth it? So if you're not sure what SEO is, it is essentially getting your tattoo shop to rank in the top 3 organically. Not the Google Map 3-pack that shows the reviews, but just in the top 3. So here's where people click. 43.6% of people are, when they're looking for a tattoo shop, are clicking on the Google My Business, which I'll go over in just a second. 6.3 don't click anything. 21.4% people are clicking the actual ads that are being run, and 28% are clicking the listings. So the majority of clicks for tattoo shops, when somebody's looking up tattoo shop near me, are going to your Google My Business. So it kind of begs the question if SEO is worth it. Hard time going back and updating my SEO sometimes. Hosting shouldn't affect that too much. Because that's usually just your page speed. I mean, it does affect SEO, but it shouldn't affect you changing things. WordPress is notorious, unless you have like Elementor or Divya installed as a website builder. WordPress is notoriously hard to essentially do anything with because it does everything, but it was built for people to actually code websites. Um, so it shouldn't mess stuff up. And then when you do rank in the top three organically, almost 40% go to the very first person on the organic list, about 20% on the second, 10% on the third, and then 31% past the fourth. So if only 30% are going to the actual organic listings that you're trying to get your SEO to rank for, and then if you're not number one, where 40% of that go, you are getting what 17% of the traffic that's actually going to Google. So unless you're going to be in that top spot, I typically don't recommend SEO. Um, if and a couple caveats with that. If you're in a small town, it's not competitive. Sure, do a little bit of it. If you're in New York City, unless you're spending an ungodly amount of money, you're not going to rank top three SEO. No matter how many emails you get with people saying they can rank you in the top three for $300, that's just not how it works, unfortunately. SEO is a very, well, up until very recently, is a very manual process. There's something I'll jump into that if you do want to do SEO, this is how I recommend doing it. But in my personal opinion, SEO ranks at the bottom of what is going to get you the most bang for your buck when it comes to paid ads, working on your Google My Business or SEO. We will jump into it though. Again, SEO is the most time consuming of the three ways. This decides how well your shop ranks organically. And again, not the Google Map 3-pack, but just your organic listing. 97% of people don't go past the first page on Google. So again, you have a very small window of that top 3 to 4 to get into for SEO to be worth it. And there are two types of SEO. There are on-page and off-page SEO. And I understand what I'm about to say now is going to sound like I'm speaking Spanish or French or some kind of alien dialect, but I have an easy button for it. So what on-page SEO consists of, and this is what you need to do actually on your website. Search quality, relevance, and search intent. So what Google is looking for to rank you is how close to what you are saying in your website matches with what the people are looking for. The second part is on-page structure and HTML optimization, which is H1 tags, title tags, meta descriptions, which I'll show you a picture of in just a second, schema markups. Again, fairly advanced stuff that at least I haven't met a tattoo shop or a tattoo artist that has ever wanted to dive into this and figure it out because it's very boring. On-page experience and technical performance. This goes into how fast your page loads. Is it secure? There's a thing called HTTPS. You should always have this. This is just security on your website. So if anybody puts in data, it can't be hacked. Any hosting offers this. It's usually like $5 a month. Also, if you don't have this, if you've ever tried to go to a website and you get that warning, the site might be unsecure, it's because it has this it doesn't have this HTTPS. So just trying to look into if people aren't getting into your website, find your hosting, ask them how to add this for like $5 a month. One of the biggest things though is page speed. Like the saying, a slow site kills conversions, even if the SEO is perfect. If your site's slow, you could be ranked number one. People still aren't going to go through your website. And then on-page engagement signals are what we talked about with the Google Analytics stuff, just knowing how long people are staying on your page. Are they bouncing, which is leaving the site immediately? Click behavior. Again, I know I'm speaking a different language. But a breakdown of it, the content quality, which is like blogs, articles, stuff like that, the relevance to what the person is searching to has the biggest impact on where you are ranked with SEO. So here's a easier picture. So the H1 tag is essentially typically your headline. Your H2 tag is what's under it. And the H1 tag and your meta description are the two biggest things Google is going to look at when it's trying to match a person with what they're searching for. So these are the big ones, the H1 tag and the meta description. Again, I mean, I could talk SEO for 2 hours and it would still sound like a foreign language, but off-page SEO, this is stuff done off your website. Backlinks. This is essentially other websites linking to yours, which shows that you're essentially important. Now, Not all backlinks are the same. Because a lot of times you'll get those emails, like I said, that $300 will rank in the top three. Oh, we're going to get you 5,000 backlinks. It's going to be amazing. About a year and a half ago, this guy was having issues. He had paid for one of those. I was like, all right. And like, we don't do SEO for clients. Um, but I know SEO. So we went and took a look, and he had about 5,000 backlinks of X-rated sites, Russian sites, darknet sites. And I was like, yeah, this didn't help, dude. This did the exact opposite. It's going to cost you 10 times more to have somebody clean this up than to you paid to have it installed. So if somebody offers to get you 1,000 or 5,000 backlinks, I highly recommend not doing it. Realistically, you could get 3 to 5 backlinks a month, and if they are quality sites backlinking to yours, it's all you need. Um, Brand signals an online reputation. Essentially, what is your reputation online? So this takes in your Google reviews, Yelp reviews, Facebook reviews, stuff like that, Glassdoor. See what your reputation is online. Local citations and NAP. It essentially just means, is your business name, number, address across the same across everywhere it's been posted. Um, there's a ton of places you probably don't know that your address has been added. There's ways to look it up. You can Google it, but that is a good thing to have be consistent. And social trust signals and sharing. It doesn't, Google's kind of had this weird thing with it where it doesn't directly say it helps your ranking, but they want you to do it. And Google is also notorious for not sharing what SEO they want you to do, which doesn't make any sense, but that's Google for you. So like having a larger audience, more links, more mentions does get you stronger SEO. So having a good social brand actually does help your SEO if your social accounts are linked to your website. Offsite breakdown, again, backlinks is the biggest thing. If you just get a couple every month that are high quality, does wonders. Yeah. So the easy button, and this thing was a godsend when I found it. It's called Search Atlas. Again, we are not affiliated with it, but we do use it. It's a website that, or a software that essentially uses AI. It's runs, crawls your entire website, tells you all the problems, fixes them with AI. You can write blogs with and articles with AI on this. So searchatlas.com, it's $100 a month. Again, we're not affiliated with all. If you sign up, we don't get anything. They have no clue who we are. They're great. Because I used to have an SEO firm during our SEO, because again, it's very manual. I was paying them $1,000 a month. Tested Search Atlas versus them. Search Atlas beat them out, which is wild. I know pretty much every marketing agency that I know has switched from manually to using this software because it works so well. There are so many videos on how to use it on their website, on their on YouTube. But if you are serious about SEO, I do recommend, like, this is how I recommend doing it. Like when I put our website into it, well, actually, hold up. Um, our grade was at like a 20, or it was at a 20. And so it's helped a ton. It just, after, it looks like a lot, but after you get into it, it's actually fairly easy to use. Like I said, you can create blogs in here with AI. They automatically post it to your website, stuff like that. So this will gather data, and then as I go down it, it will tell me all the things that could be fixed. And you can see in here where I started using Search Atlas. And again, this is where I started using $1,000 a month SEO company. And then this is where I started using Search Atlas. And this is how many people are going to our site every single month. So again, $100 a month beat out $1,000 a month manual SEO company. But it will scrape it and it will go through everything and tell you exactly like meta tags, H1 tags, what should be updated. It will give you the description, like what to use, and then it will actually input it into your website with just a click of a button. So highly, highly cannot recommend that enough. If you are going to do SEO, it is by far a game changer. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry, clicking too many things. Here we go. Okay, go. Can you guys see my screen again? Yeah. Okay, cool. Perfect. So, it's not pinning it for me. That's weird. Anyway, okay. Next part. So if you do want to check your SEO ranking, essentially see where you're at, stuff like that. Um, neilpot.com, how you say his last name, is 100% free. Can't recommend it enough. It will give you basic data. There's a paid version, which obviously gives you more, but just running your stuff through that will give you a decent amount of data on your SEO. GT metrics, like I mentioned, is 100% free. See how fast your site is. It's one of the biggest and easiest things you can do is make your site faster if it's not. SEMrush is a more in-depth essentially SEO tool that will give you a lot more data on yourself. You can look at competitors, stuff like that. There's a 7-day free trial if you want to mess around with it. And then Search Atlas also has a 7-day free trial. And that's the one we just talked about. And again, we're not affiliated with any of these. I've just been doing this for a while, and these are the guys I recommend. There's plenty more out there that do it, but these are the ones that I've seen do the best. Any questions about that, guys? No? It means I'm explaining things well or I'm explaining them terribly. So hopefully it's the first one. Remove that. All right. Okay, cool. That makes me feel better. All right. Your Google My Business and how it can change your shop. Um, if you're going to spend time with SEO, this is typically where I recommend doing it. And so when I say Google Map 3-pack, this is where most of the clicks go. It is this right here. Excuse me. There's always 3 organic ones, and then there's a sponsor paid one. I mean, you can tell looking at the reviews, the difference. Like this guy has 5 reviews or 6 reviews with 5.0. The rest of these have hundreds. So reviews are a huge, huge part of this. And we'll go in how to get reviews automatically shortly, but it's a game changer for a shop. So, and again, when you're looking, like if you actually Google your shop, this is your Google My Business, that should come up. This is a shop that we started. Essentially, we have a online consent form or waiver. So people fill it out before they get tattooed. Triggers an automation. 24 hours later, they get a text asking for a review on Google with a link to the Google My Business. When we started, they had a 4.6 and 72 reviews. We've been doing this about 9 months. They have 5 artists. So they've gotten 640 reviews, 645-star reviews in the last 9 months, which one, it looks fabulous. I mean, absolutely amazing. The shop next on the list has, I think it's a 4.6 and 172 reviews. So like when people are looking organically, who are they going to pick every single time? Him. And he ranks number 1. This is a more analytic version of it, but there's a 30-mile radius around his shop. There are 46 shops in the area. He ranks number 1 for every keyword for his Google My Business organically. And again, that's where the majority of the clicks go anyway. So if you're going to focus on getting something better, focus on this. And I took this picture a while ago, as you can see, because they only had 500 at the time. But this is huge. Like the amount, like the next person, their average rank is 3. So like he comes up every single time for everything about tattoos, and he has the best rating by 500. So it's been huge, huge, huge. And so why is your Google My Business appointment? Again, 43% of people are clicking on that. It's so much easier to rank there versus it is to rank in SEO. It shows your reviews, which again is huge. It's what people want to see because again, they want that experience these days. They want to know they're going to have a good time. They're picking a good shop. Um, I spelled that wrong. I swear I know English. But most shops don't focus on this as well. Um, I've seen so many Google My Businesses that aren't even completely filled out, which is wild because that is your number one online ranking place. So how to rank in the top three. Again, get more five-star reviews, which I'll cover in a little bit, an automatic way to do that. You can post your Google My Business like you can post to Facebook and Instagram. I recommend doing it once a month. There are plenty of softwares out there where you can essentially schedule posting to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, your Google My Business, YouTube. And this is kind of a side note, but if you do content and you hate remembering to post all the time, spend $19 a month, get one of these softwares. And essentially, we just schedule a month of content at a time, and then you don't have to worry about what's being posted for a month. It works extremely well. But post your Google My Business once a month. It shows Google that you're active. So you can have less and worse reviews, but if Google sees that you're active, you can rank above shops with better reviews, which is awesome. Make sure everything is filled out. Your shop hours, what you do, you can put in essentially the kind of tattoos you do if you do geometric, black and gray, all that kind of stuff. And then respond to reviews. That's one of the other huge parts of this because again, it shows Google you're active on your Google My Business, but posting to it and responding to it, making sure it's filled out. Like after this seminar, you could take 20 minutes to make sure my Google My Business is filled out. Take another 20 minutes to respond to all your reviews, and then once a week to post to it, and you'll rank in the top three typically within a couple of months, which is huge. And when I say respond to reviews, don't just say thank you to every single one because Google does crawl those. And if it looks like a bot did it or it's just the same thing every time, like it doesn't have to be a paragraph, but a couple words, thank you, whatever your name is. Hey, I'm glad you had a good time, stuff like that. Also, if you get negative reviews, please don't start a fight with them on there. It just looks bad. I've seen that so many times, but it looks childish. So if you need to take a few minutes, I'm guilty of doing it before as well with my gym business more than once. But take a couple of minutes, cool down, and then respond to it. All right, things to know. Don't get reviews inside of your shop. This is another mistake we see a lot. Shops will either ask for it like after the person gets tattooed, or they'll have a QR code and scan it. Google has come out and said you are not supposed to solicit reviews. So you are not supposed to ask for them. And as creepy as it is, we have our phones on us all the time. So Google knows where you are at all times. And Google knows where your business is located. So if they see all the reviews coming out of your business, you'll notice they actually stop showing up. The reviews stop showing up. So that's one of the things we do with our automation. We text them 24 hours later, so they're at work, at home, whatever. So we don't have that problem. But yeah, don't get them from inside your shop. It causes Google to get mad at you. Like I said, post your Google My Business once a week. Totally fine. If you want to post more, go for it. But it's the same thing. You post a picture with a little caption. It's just like posting Instagram. Your Google My Business ranking is 90% three things: relevance. Again, if somebody's looking for a tattoo shop, are you a tattoo shop? There's categories where you can pick what you are, and tattoo shop is one of them. Distance, how close are people to your shop? Like no matter how good your ranking is, somebody isn't going to see it 200 miles away, but you can get a 30 to 40 mile radius around your shop. Depending how populated your area is, that's obviously huge. If somebody 30 miles away sees your stuff. And then reviews, how popular, trusted, and well-reviewed is your business? So getting the reviews is big. And also the NAP consistent thing that I mentioned with the SEO, the address on there needs to match your address on your website, needs to match your address everywhere. It's just, if it's not, go in there. It's easy to change, but I have run into more than a handful of shops that still have the last location, or one had 3 locations ago as their address. That's where people are going when they look you up, and it helps your Google My Business. So again, SEO versus Google My Business. Obviously, at the end of the day, it is up to you, but your Google My Business is easier and brings better results. So to me, it's a no-brainer. How do you fill it out completely if some days are by appointment only? Um, so you mean like when you have the book a consultation button in there? And there also is an about section. So I would just in that about section, let me see if oh, that's a good question. I would still put them as open, but as you can see right here, there's a little about me. Just put that in caps, whatever days are by appointment only. Um, People typically will read this, they should be. So yeah, just put that in caps to make sure they see it. But that's what I would do. I definitely wouldn't put that you're closed. All right. Again, if you have any questions, just throw them in there. Um, Great paid ads equal fast growth. And again, this is why I believe in online marketing so much. It's how I grew all three of my businesses on the back of social media marketing. Like it 100% works. It's what we do. Like our biggest things that we do with all the shops we work with are Google ads and Facebook and Instagram ads. Like they work extremely well if they're set up correctly, if they're targeting the right people. um, they're a game changer. And essentially, like you're paying to have people contact you. So as long as you answer your phone and stuff like that, I've seen that as an issue. People paying Google for phone calls and then not answering their phone, which gives me almost an aneurysm. But yeah. So which platforms to use? I mean, there's a ton out there right now. There's so many out there right now. These are the main ones. Meta ads. So Facebook and Instagram. When I say Meta, MetaBot is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. That confuses people sometimes. Why I like Meta ads, there's great targeting. Didn't change that. Great targeting. You can target the people look like your past clients. You can target people by their income, people by their profession. One of our favorite things to do is say people that already have tattoos, and then people that have tattoos and are police officers, nurses, firefighters, military, people that have that disposable income and are typically heavily tattooed. Amazing for targeting. It's great for getting bigger pieces because you can target by how much people make. So if you're having issues with Facebook and Instagram ads and you're just getting people like asking for a price and then ghosting you or that just want shop minimums, your targeting's off 100%. The downside is it is people on social media. They're just scrolling through. Now, Google or Meta's AI has gotten pretty good. So they know if people have been searching for tattoo shops. So it's gotten a lot better than it used to be, but it is still people just scrolling through social media. Will I show how to run Meta ads step by step? I will on our next webinar. It will be on Meta ads. We'll actually run through exactly how we set it up. We do have one on YouTube right now. Again, it is probably 8 months old. So 80% of it is right. Meta likes to make changes almost every week. And then the Andromeda update they just pushed out, it's different than what's on there. You still get a good concept of things if you want to get going before that, though. The other thing is you must use the Facebook ad manager. That is one of the biggest parts, and I'll jump into it instead of boosting posts if you want ads to be successful. Google ads is people looking for a tattoo shop. So there's a lot of intent behind it. They're actively searching for a tattoo shop. Smart mode with it is easy to set up. And if you are running Google ads, you're not like, I'm not sure if I'm in smart mode or I'm in expert mode. If you haven't manually put it into expert mode, you are in smart mode. It makes it much easier. It also removes a lot of the targeting options and the things that make Google ads work so well. But there's a steep learning curve with expert mode, and there's a lot of hands-on. It's not set it and forget it like smart mode is, but it does work a lot better. And Google, if you stop running your ads, they don't screw you like Yelp does. Yelp is evil. They used to be great. I'll jump into it, talk about it a little bit more, but if you stop paying Yelp, they typically take down reviews and pretty much anything you got while you were paying them. So highly recommend staying away from them. So TikTok, yes, Yelp is the worst. They used to be amazing, and then they changed their business model like 4 or 5 years ago, and now they are evil and they will nonstop call you until you are dead. Why we don't use TikTok? The targeting's terrible. I've tested it extensively, spent thousands of dollars trying to get it to work well. It's great for getting actual just leads, like people that will fill out the form. It's not great for getting people into your shop. And again, it's just because their targeting is not very good. But it's good for getting reviews. You can still target local areas. So, I mean, if you're trying to build a local audience, it's not bad for that. If you're trying to get people into your shop that day or in the next week, not good for that. Yelp, the only good thing about Yelp is that Apple Maps pulls from Yelp. So if you don't use Google Maps, you use Apple Maps because you have an iPhone, all the data they pull when you're looking for something is from Yelp. That is the only good thing about Yelp. Um, if you sign up for their marketing and you get a lead from them, they are also selling that interested person to every other shop that will essentially buy it from them. So one, it's a race to get who can get a hold of them the fastest, and two, it's typically a race to the bottom of who's going to be the cheapest. They call you consistently to try to get you to spend more money. Yelp will call you multiple times a day forever, even after you cancel the service. And when you stop paying, they actually penalize your organic listing. And I swear they're going to get in some kind of legal trouble for the stuff they do. I don't know how it's legal, but that's how they are right now. I've met two shops in 5 years, maybe no, three shops that like Yelp and use them. Every other shop that I've talked to that's using Yelp absolutely hates them. So unless you have like a actual appointment setter on staff that can call them instantly, I recommend staying away from Yelp. Yelp, okay. I do want a little caveat with that. Yes, Yelp did used to be amazing. You can do some cool stuff with Yelp. We have a YouTube video on it and a podcast on it with Casey. If you want to look it up, there's some cool stuff where you can get them to come out to your business and you get free publicity from it. But as far as their paid marketing goes, I would stay away from that. Meta ads. So again, Facebook and Instagram ads. So when we use meta ads, solo artist or promoting a single style, it's great for that. They don't want to do little bangers because again, you're showing the pieces that you want to do. So we typically show sleeves, half sleeves, back pieces, thigh pieces, stuff like that, bigger stuff on the ads and then on the landing page, and then target people by how much money they make, which helps. They have a good system to get back to people. Or you need to have a good system to get back to people because again, unlike Google ads, these people aren't actively looking for a tattoo shop. They might be interested in one. That I might have searched for one recently, and that's why Meta's showing them the ad. But they are still at the moment just scrolling through social media. And you need at least a $300 to $500 a month budget. We've tested it with less. It's really hard to get traction, especially with the new Andromeda update. You're supposed to have 7 ads running at a time, which is different from the 3 that it used to be. So it's more time consuming. So if you are going to run meta ads, and again, like don't get me wrong, they work fantastic. I'm going to show you a sales call I did with one of our clients. He's in Vegas, one of the most saturated competitive places on the planet. And working with us, he made $32,000 in the first 3 months he worked with us from the stuff we sent him off of Facebook and Instagram ads. So it 100% does work well. There's just some caveats with it that you need to know. If you're sending people off Facebook and Instagram, which I typically recommend, like if you've ever run messenger campaigns before, like you want them to send you a message, you get a lot of people that ask for a price and ghost you. We always send them to a landing page, which is a one-page website. If you're going to do that, though, you have to set up their pixel, or it's called a data set. Pixel and data set is the exact same thing. I don't know why they changed the name. But that sends the information back to Facebook, and that's how it optimizes. So if you are going to run ads and send them to your website or a landing page, you have to have this set up or it will not work well. Have to have a solid audience. That's one of the other biggest issues we see. If you're not targeting the right people, your ads could be absolutely amazing. It doesn't matter because it's going to Grandma Jill after she came out of church and she's on her way to a knitting club. She's not going to come get tattooed. So if the audience isn't on point, it will not work. Like I mentioned, have to have a good system to get back to people and have to have that budget. $500 if you work with us is the minimum for ad spend. You can get away with $300, but again, it just takes longer to get results. Clicking the wrong screen. That's not helpful at all. If you are going to run them, you need to use the Facebook ad manager, not boosting posts. When you boost posts, you lose about 90% of your targeting options and about 90% of the analytics that you can see. It is a steeper learning curve, but it works so much better. 3 to 7 images per ad set. And again, in a month, we're going to do another webinar. Everybody will get a link to sign up for it, but we'll actually go through and build out an entire campaign. And you need to check your ads 1 to 2 times per week, change ads that are underperforming, the ones that aren't getting any of the budget, or ones that have burned out. Clicking the wrong screen again. Boosting posts versus the Facebook ad manager. So, like I mentioned, boosting posts is extremely easy. However, you just lose a ton of your targeting options, which is what makes Facebook and Instagram so special. Can I get a 1 in the chat if you've watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Okay, couple people. If you have not watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, I recommend it. Came out a couple years ago, and essentially it's a documentary on how much Facebook, Instagram, Google, all those guys know about us. And like I do this for a living, and I deleted Facebook and Instagram off my phone after I watched that. But all that to say, they know a ton about us. Sometimes it seems more than we know about us. So the targeting options are what make Facebook and Instagram so special. That is 100% their like the reason to use them is their targeting. If you're not using them, that stuff it's put your money somewhere else. The Meta Ads Manager, this is what it looks like. You can either go to adsmanager.facebook.com, or if you're looking at your business page, so your shop's page, you'll see Ad Manager on the left or at the top. And this is what it actually looks like. So just so you guys know, if you're looking for it, this is what the actual Ads Manager looks like. But this is where you should be building out your ads. Audience targeting, the keys to great ads. Lookalike audience. If you have a digital consent form, and again, we'll talk about this because there's so many cool things you can do with it. You can take your past client list digitally, upload it into Meta, and they will make an audience of people that look like your past clients, and then you can show the ads to them. It is one of the most powerful targeting options Facebook and Instagram offers. There's also interest targeting, like we talked about. So you can target people by age, sex, income, their job. I always recommend, if you're targeting by income, just getting rid of the lower 50% income range, because that is going to be 90% of the people that ghost you, the people that are looking for the cheapest tattoos, stuff like that. So if we're doing interest targeting, we always do the top 50%. If we're looking for bigger pieces, we do the top 10 or 5%, depending on how populated the area is. Now, Meta's new change that they made with Andromeda, it actually does work pretty well if your conversion tracking is set up correctly, but you essentially don't put in a lookalike audience. You don't put in any interest targeting. You let Meta's AI find the people, and it actually has been working pretty well. The only caveat with it is you need to run 7 ads per ad set. So it takes a lot more work. So is the lookalike audience based on the email list, or how do you provide the info? So you can use email, you can use phone number, or you can use both. And if you have both, I recommend it because it matches it to people better. Let me actually, let's do this. Let's share this with you really quick. Yeah, let me move. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Let me move this here. That'll make it easier. So when you're in your ads manager, come over here to audiences. Go to our actual one. create audience, it'll be a custom audience, customer list. Just hit next here. You upload it here. Let's see, do I have a list I can just throw in there real quick? You'll upload it, you can name it. So it's already mapped the emails. You don't need to map anything else, just emails. And if you want to map phone numbers, you can as well. Import and create, upload it. And they'll ask if you want to create a lookalike audience. So region, if you're in the United States, you can't go by state, city, it's just country. So United States. And then this is how big or how close you want the audience to match. What I typically do is two audiences, a 0 to 1% and a 1 to 3%. And we test with the 0 to 1 because we know that is the closest audience. After that, if it works well, we'll run it with the 1 to 3%. And if you do this, it takes 24 to 48 hours to actually upload and populate the audience. So if you create one and then go to make an ad and it says population is 0, it's still working on creating it. But that's how you make a lookalike audience. The importance of split testing. So like I said, 3 to 7 ads at all times. And this is why you will always get one that does awesome, one that does mediocre, and one that typically doesn't spend a lot of the budget. But there's a huge difference in this cost per lead. Like this is $10 cheaper. Like this guy needs to be shut off. If this one keeps running and getting $9 a lead, like never run just one ad. Run a minimum of 3. You'll be amazed at how much just the change of a color of a button can make. It's absolutely huge. What we typically do is we'll run 3, excuse me, find the winner. We'll take that and then we'll show it to the bigger audience, but we'll make small changes. We'll either change the copy, so the words that are on the ad, the color of the button, but you do that 2 to 3 times and you have an ad that is just running and kicking ass. And that's essentially how you split test stuff. But always run 3, take the winner, make slight variations, run it again. So the meta ads library, I just have one. Let me show you guys that one. I did put in a couple little cheat sheets for you. Oops. So if you Google Facebook ad library, click on that. Click here to all ads, and you can look up any tattoo shop anywhere, and it will show you the live ads that they have. So a note with this, don't steal people's ads. Don't be a dick, for the love of God, please. Like, don't copy their stuff exactly, but you'll get good ideas of what is working well. And how we do that is we see how long an ad has been running, because if they have ads that have been running for months or weeks, they're probably doing well. So we know those are winning ads. You can even click on the Learn More button, and it will take you to where they are sending them. So you can see what their page looks like. Again, don't be a dick. Don't directly copy people's stuff, but you can get a good idea of what works well for shops. Take the 5 biggest shops in your area, look them up here. You can do the same thing with Google, and I'll touch on that in a little bit, but it's a really good way of seeing what ads are working. So Google Ads. Should you use Google Ads? If you can take walk-ins or people can come in for a consultation quickly, Google Ads is awesome. You're okay with doing any size tattoo. Google Ads does have targeting options. They just do not work very well, which is surprising because it's Google. But like their income ranges, stuff like that, do not work very well. Your shop phone needs to get answered, because a lot of the times, especially it's a little more advanced, but if you're running location extension, that's essentially the ad for your Google My Business. People are going to call you from that. You can set schedules, so the ads only run when your shop is open, so you're not getting calls at 8 a.m. in the morning. But a lot of the people that we see through Google Ads either want to come in for a tattoo right then, or they want to talk to somebody for a consultation that day or the next day. So if you're booked out 6 months, Google Ads is typically not the way to go. And with them, a minimum $500 budget. Again, we've tested it with lower, doesn't work very well. The must for Google Ads, if you're going to use expert mode, which works much better, but there is a higher learning curve. This is one of the things like SEO I recommend hiring somebody to do if you're going to do Google Ads. Um, there's a lot. Like even us, like we know what works. We've spent so much money on advertising. We'll still make 300 to 400 changes in a year for a shop. Just depends on what's going on in the economy, what time of year it is. Like keywords work great for 6 months and then they completely die. So you have to keep watching it. And again, answering your phone is huge. Allowing walk-ins and again, setting up tracking if you're going to send people to your website, just like Facebook's Pixel, they have the same thing. That's the only way for Google to optimize and get better is if it knows what is going on when it sends people to your website. We will also we need to redo our webinar for Google Ads. We do have one on our YouTube that is still fairly relevant and would work. There's been a few changes, but nothing huge. But we will be doing a new one probably before March. And we'll actually run you through how to completely build out a Google ad. So must for Google Ads, again, if you use expert mode, you have to check it at least once per week. Kind of like Meta, you need to have 3 ads per ad set because you'll do the same kind of thing. You'll split test them. You'll find the winner. You'll take that winner, make a couple tweaks, run it again. And that is how you find really well-performing ads. Have a list of 4 to 6 keywords. We go into a lot of shops, Google ad accounts that have been running ads in the past, and they've got like 150 keywords going on. And Google's trying to spread the budget through all of them. 95% of the keywords come through or searches come through 5 or 6 keywords. So you don't need a huge list. There is the Google Keyword Planner. This is in your Google ad account. Oops, that's not what I was looking for. If you're in your Google ad account, come over here to Tools, Planning, Keyword Planner. Get search, forecast, and then let's just put so this is roughly the average monthly search is 1 to 10 million, which is a very wide threshold. But what you're going to want to do, this you actually can do a location. So you can put in your city. So 1 to 10,000 people are doing it. This is the average cost you're going to spend for a cost per click. There's a lot of things you can do. And when we do our Google webinar, or you watch the last one, we'll go into it. We're able to get the cost per click lower than anybody else I've seen because there's a lot of factors that go into your click, like your quality score, stuff like that. But the keyword planner is an awesome place to see how many people are searching so you to find the keywords that you want. There's also keyword ideas. And you can even just scan your website if you want to put it in here and it'll get the ideas. And if you get stuff that isn't about tattoo shops, then you need to fix your website. But let's do this. Let's go back to Seattle. And now not only can we see what people are looking up in Seattle on Google, we can see how much it's going to cost for us to get a click, which is huge. Again, one of the best ways to find keywords that are working in your area, especially if you're going for a certain style, like let's say you only do anime tattoos, you can put that in here. And now you know what keywords to put in for people to search if you only want to do anime tattoos. This is what you'd put in your ads, or these. Obviously, ones that kind of match cartoon tattoo artist probably, or dog portrait tattoo artists probably aren't relevant. But especially if you're just doing a single style, if you're an individual artist, this is a must. And not a lot of people go after these keywords. They mostly go after tattoo shop near me, Tattoo Shop, whatever your city name is. So the cost per click for these is fairly cheap. As you can see, it doesn't even show you how much, but there are people searching for it. So these would be killer if you were an anime artist in Seattle. If you're in expert mode, there are a handful of different campaign types to use. The only ones you want to use are a search campaign, and that is what you think of when you think Google ads. Someone types it in words, and then your ad comes up. Or PMAX campaign is giving Google more control, using more AI. These do work extremely well, but you need to have a lot of good data in your ad account. So if you have a new ad account, conversions aren't set up correctly, or you haven't been running ads for, let's say, at least 6 to 9 months, just start with search campaigns, then go to PMAX campaigns. Campaign tips not to use display campaigns. There's a more advanced way to use these for retargeting, but you'll get a ton of people that see them, but very low conversion rate. Shopping campaigns, you guys aren't selling a physical product. App campaigns, we're not making apps. YouTube, so you run YouTube ads from inside Google Ads because YouTube owns Google. Works well for national campaigns, can work well for some local campaigns, but it is much more time consuming because you have to make the video, edit it, split test it. So you have to make a couple different variations. YouTube ads definitely work. It's just a lot more work goes into them. There's also multiple different types of keywords to use. The only two you want to use, this shouldn't say PMAX. So phrase keywords, and then there'll be exact. This shouldn't say PMAX, it should say exact. Phrase means whatever they are searching has to be close to what your keyword is. So if they put tattoo shops near me, instead of tattoo shop near me, your ad will show up. Exact means they have to type in exactly what you put as your keyword. And that one by far gets the best results, has the lowest traffic go to it. So you need to be in a populated area to use this. Do not use broad campaigns. This is essentially allowing Google to put anything that remotely has to do with your keywords, have you show up as a search result. So if you put tattoo shops near me and someone puts tattoo ideas for my dog, like you'll still show up, and that is a giant waste of money if they click on your ad. Smart mode versus expert mode. Again, you're automatically in smart mode when you go in. It works. It's fine. But you get the best results out of expert mode. Again, learning curve, either Fiverr, Upwork, you can always hire us. To run expert mode, just make sure if you hire a freelancer, they have experience in the tattoo industry and can show you results. Tattoo industry is not an easy one to market in. We have a shop or two shops in Australia on the Gold Coast that we work with that have been with us for about 3 years now. They hired 8 marketing companies before us. All of them saying Google ads couldn't be done because they got such terrible results. They've been with us, like I said, for 3-4 years now. So just make sure they have experience in the tattoo industry and they can show you results from a tattoo client. Excuse me. And in expert mode, this is what the dashboard looks like. Again, if you scroll down, there's a lot more numbers, analytics, stuff like that. But yeah, this is one of our account managers. I went over the Google Ad Planner. If you do not have a Google Ad account or you have not used one in years, Google always has this offer. If you sign up for an ad account and you spend $500 within 60 days, they will give you $500 in credit. If you spend $1,500, they'll give you $1,000 in credit. If you spend $3,000 in 60 days, they'll give you $1,500 in credit. It's an amazing offer if you're trying to learn Google Ads or you're just starting. I wouldn't take, if you've been running ads for years, you've got great data in there, I wouldn't start a new campaign to get this because you're getting rid of your data, which is really the gold. But if you're starting a new ad account, as long as you spend $500 in 60 days, the next $500 you spend on ads will be on Google. You don't have to pay for it, which is a really awesome offer. And again, they always do this. You'll see this as soon as you jump onto the Google Ads website. So if you want to know the winning ads in your area, open up a private or incognito window and tap in tattoo shops near me. and you'll see the ads pop up. Don't be a dick and click on their ads and waste their budget. Um, but it's a really good way to see what the best ads are because multiple people can have ads running. There's a few things that dictate who's going to be shown. One of them is obviously how much they're willing to spend on a click, but the other is how well their landing page is, how much it matches the search, how much their keywords match their landing page, which is called a quality score. And that is how we're able to get the cost per click under what the average is we have a really high quality score. Everything essentially meshes together. But it's a really good way to see what ads are working well. Cheats for running better ads. Again, like I said, the Facebook ads library. There's the exact same thing for Google Ads Transparency Center. Oops, that's meta. So if you just look up Google Ads Transparency Center, click on that. It will ask you to log into your account. Oh, sorry. And then just type what you want to put in here. I don't know if it has to be, yeah, it's going to be the shop. So we'll just put in, I have no clue who this is. Let's do one in the United States. And you can see the ads they are running. And same kind of thing, you can go and check out their landing page, stuff like that. Again, don't steal stuff, but it will give you some good ideas of what other people are running and what is working well. And then SpyFu, it's a paid software, but it'll give you a ton more detail on the ads other people are running, their landing page, how well like it's converting, stuff like that. You get a ton of data about other people's ads. Again, to give you ideas. Right? Don't steal stuff, but extremely, extremely helpful. Stopping clients from falling through the cracks. So using a CRM. Can I get a 1 in the chat if you are using a CRM or know what a CRM is? Two people. Okay. That's kind of what I expected. So a CRM is a software. It's called a client relationship manager. This is essentially where all of your clients or people that are interested in getting tattooed go to. It is extremely helpful. I recommend every tattoo shop or even individual artist have one of these. We see so many people just slip through the cracks or not get answered because there's no system for following up. And I mean, which is understandable. Shops get calls, DMs, emails, texts, not only to the shop, but to the actual artist stuff. There's so much communication happening at one time that so many things get missed. And a CRM is a way to put everything into one spot. So you'll get every artist that has their own calendar. You can take deposits of payments. You can do all your bookings. You can automate the follow-up, which we'll talk about. And then you can also do things like your digital consent form and waiver, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But highly recommend everybody use CRM. It's the best way to keep your shop organized. My Inklink, my company, lives out of a CRM called High Level. This is something that almost every industry, it's like a day one thing. They have a CRM if they're working with clients. It's slowly coming into the tattoo industry, but this will massively put you ahead of the game and will help you get organized and know what's going on in your shop at all times. This is an example of one of ours, like how you can set stuff up. So obviously this is ours, so you wouldn't see booked called presentation, but like interested in a consultation, came in for consultation, put down a deposit, booked a tattoo, stuff like that. So you just know where everybody is if you need to follow up with somebody, if they didn't show up. It's extremely helpful. Also with ours, we do all of our communication out of it. So you don't have to, again, answer phones, emails, DMs, like our text, emails, phone calls, DMs from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything comes into this one place. So you can always, you never miss somebody contacting your shop. This alone is worth doing because again, the number, like we have a segment in our podcast, Tattoo Client Chronicles, where we interview people that are heavily tattooed. And the number one complaint they have is tattoo shop communication. And this solves that problem. And just doing small stuff like this, like it's amazing what you hear people say when you get back to them super quickly. Like they're so impressed, especially if they have tattoos, because they're used to taking days, weeks, months to hear back from a tattoo artist. So doing these small things really helps that tattoo client experience and them keep coming back to your shop or choosing your shop over others. There's two CRMs we recommend. There's so many options out there, but there are two we recommend. One is High Level. That's the one we use. It's $97 a month. And again, not affiliated. 14-day free trial. My entire business is built out of this. There's no onboarding help. There's a ton of YouTube videos. It can do so much, but it is frustrating. But you can build your entire business out of this. There's also Tattoo Pro. They're a little more expensive, but that was built by tattoo artists for tattoo shops. And they like hold your hand during onboarding. They help you through every step of the way. So it's really, really great for a CRM for tattoo shops. Again, High Level does more, but it is much more complex. Highly, again, we don't get anything if you sign up, but highly recommend at least booking a call with Tattoo Pro. It's a free demo, worth seeing if it'd be good for your shop, or Google them, see what they do. But these were game changers when I started implementing these, and now they are like I have a CRM for every business I have. Also, every top 1% shop that we work with and have talked to has a CRM in place. This is one of those things that you're going to see become more and more standard over the years. I mean, if you've seen ads for Tattoo Pro, or I can't remember the name of the other one now. Anyway, but it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing in the tattoo industry. Can't recommend a CRM enough. I know we're going through a lot of information. I will send out replays, but yeah. So digital consent forms. Why use a digital consent form? They're huge. They're a game changer. Around 80% of the shops we talk to are still using paper. Can I get a 1 in the chat if you're using digital, and 2 in the chat if you're using paper? I'm just curious for who we're have on here. Okay. Okay. So that's actually better than normal. It's about 50-50. Perfect. So for those of you that use it, here's a couple of things you can do with it. Those of you that don't use it, here's a couple of things you can do with it. One, obviously, the simple one thing is less storage. You're not holding on to paperwork for 3 years. And if the health inspector wants to see a certain form, you just look it up and it pops up instead of going through everything. The two, you start to build a past client list. And this is really the biggest thing with a digital consent form. So when we start working with a shop, we will, if they have a digital past client list, we'll send a text out to their past clients saying, hey, if you come in within the next week, we'll give you 10% off. And we have to stagger those out because we accidentally sent them out to everybody at once. And I got a call from the shop owner that evening. He said, I booked 46 appointments today. I need you to shut it off, which is a great problem to have, but it's still a problem. But that is the power of texting your past client list. And I wouldn't recommend bugging them. Like we sent 2 texts over 5 days, and then the next time we'll text them is in 3 to 4 months. Like it's really easy to annoy people with it. But anytime you have an event, and I'm not just talking flash stuff because I know that stuff's typically pretty busy, but we have a shop here in town who does a garage sale once a year. The owner hit me up Saturday night. He's like, we sold almost nothing. Sent out a text to all of his past clients. By Sunday night, they had sold everything they have. So you can use this for that kind of stuff. If you have a guest artist coming into town, or if you're just slow. Like again, this year was really, really rough for a lot of shops. You'll get about 9 to 11% of your list coming in if you send out that text. So if you had a list of 2,000 people on it right now, you've got 200 tattoos just sitting there anytime you need it. So it's a really, really good, like we're slow, it's an emergency, something like that you can send out text to your past clients. We also automate a text that goes out 24 hours after somebody fills out the consent form, asking for the review on Google with a link to the Google My Business. And that's how we get all our shops, all their reviews. Because that way they're not in the shop, they're at home, they're at work. Google's not going to penalize you for asking for it in your shop. And you'll see about 30% of people do it, which is phenomenal. Versus, I know a lot of shops email people, but We tried that and got like a 5% response rate. So this is the second thing. The first thing was know your numbers. If you're just going to do one more thing, do a digital consent form. It is 100% worth it. You can take pictures of license or people IDs. You can add lot numbers. You can add pigment numbers. You can add whatever you need that is on your form now into a digital consent form. There's four we recommend. High level, again, that's the CRM that's more complex, but that's how we automate the text out, asking for reviews, stuff like that. Make form is easy to use. They are a newer software. It's been a little buggy when we've been testing it. $29 a month, you get unlimited. The cool thing is, and also using Makeform for people requesting a consultation, especially with ads, is awesome because it makes them verify their phone number. Like when they put in their phone number, they get a code they have to put in so people can't put in fake numbers, which for paid ads is a game changer. It is insanely helpful to make sure you're getting people's real number. The other two are Typeform and Jotform. Jotform is free, 100 forms per month. If you're a solo artist, you just want to test out, go with Jotform. Again, if you do two things, figure out your numbers, set up a digital consent form, it will take less than an hour and you will have this for the rest of the time your shop is open. It is 100% worth it. You don't even have to plan on using it right now. Like, hey, I'm not going to run ads. I'm not going to upload this list. Or I don't want to send out text to my past clients. Cool. But at least you have that information for the future if you ever need it. Great sales skills. This is a big issue we see with tattoo shops. And when I say sales, I always get a lot of pushback because people think sales, they think used cars salesmen, slick back hair trying to pressure you into buying something. To me, that is not what sales is at all. To me, sales has always been solving somebody's problems. The people coming to you, their problem is they want to get tattooed. They want this thing on the body for the rest of your life. In sales, your job as a salesperson, because if you are an artist, you're selling yourself, you're selling your art, you are a salesperson, is to solve that problem for them. Being able to have a conversation with somebody is not being good at sales. I've heard a lot of tattoo artists saying they're great at sales, and then I've listened to some of their phone calls and they're terrible about it. I was in a meeting a few months ago with a shop owner and his front desk person. They were having issues getting people into their shop. During the Zoom, a lead came in. I said, call him right now. They call him. The person picks up. She says, hey, this is whatever her name was from Tattoo Factory. How can I help you? Talked for a few minutes. I asked what happened. She said, well, the person's kind of interested. They're trying to figure out where to get a consultation. So why didn't you offer them a fucking free consultation? Like they literally said they wanted it. We see this all the time. Like asking somebody or telling somebody, hey, yeah, just come in whenever you want is very different than saying, hey, when do you want to set up a free consultation? And again, you don't have to pressure people into it. But that's how Ryan made $32,000 his first 3 months. He's just good on the phone. And I'm going to share this video with you guys. Let me make sure my audio is passing through. So you guys let me know if you can hear this. Can you hear that? No. All right. Let me went through this whole thing and tested and it was supposed to be working. Sorry, guys, give me 2 seconds. It was working an hour ago. Great. Let me check. Let me know if you can hear this now.
The phone. Like, so it's
Yeah.
it works fast with the ring. So it rings, and
Okay.
like I said, I have a cool system. If I get them to call, like answer the phone, like, so it's because it works fast with the ring. So it rings, and I see that it's the number. So I go straight to my text. Before I answer it, I go straight to my text. I open it, screenshot it, close it, go back to the phone, put it on speaker, hit the button. While it's ringing on their end, I open up my pictures and I see name, what they want, and where at, or whatever. I just try to get all the information so they answer. And happiness is everything. They need to feel your smile through the phone. Jesse, how you doing? Hey, I'm Ryan. I just got your inquiry through my landing page. They're kind of lost until you mention about what they have. So you just got your inquiry about your dragon tattoo on your left arm. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? And if they're usually really excited right off the bat. Now, if it's in person, it's easier because like if they're wearing a Lakers shirt, did you watch the game last night? Relate, relate, relate. Smile. They need to hear your smile. You ain't got to be cracked out. So excitement right away. You know their name. You introduce yourself real quick, and then you tell them why you're calling. As soon as you say tattoo and what, then they'll remember in their head, oh yeah, I just filled this out. So that's the first thing. Introduction, excitement, introduction about their tattoo. People, they need to hear it in your voice. Then they proceed to tell you, and it's like, okay, that works. I always try to use positive words like that's a really great idea. I can definitely design something custom for you. They love that because it's custom, the word custom. So positive words. We're not using negative words. You don't want to put anything negative in their head ever, ever. And then if they explain to their tattoo about you, that's awesome. I can definitely do it. Size placement. You go over all that. Say, hey, I can. I'm really good at my freehand. I've implemented AI and I have a lot of fun doing it. And I think it's something that we could definitely handle. Would you like to come in for a free consultation? Always use free. I used to not like to use that word, but it works. So would you like to come in for a free consultation? We could really get into the details. I could show you a little bit of design on the iPad. We could take a picture of your arm and we could place a few images on there so you can kind of see how it's going to flow and just do a quick little, get you comfortable, see what you like to do. Everything positive, everything about them. Trust me, dude. They don't need us. This is a luxury, and it's a luxury for certain people. Positive words, dude. Big words like epic. That's kind of corny, but dude, you get them excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I got to go the extra mile. But you know what? That's everybody. If you're not like gung ho about them, they're over it. Now you can't be a used car salesman. This is their thing. They're going out of their way for you. You being punctual and calling back almost immediately, or at least trying, that shows a lot. I don't want to keep them on the phone too long, but definitely don't try to kick them off the phone either. Sometimes people are excited and they're trying to just finish. Sometimes that happens, especially when you're acting excited. So slow down and also listen. Do not talk over. I know I used to have that problem. They'll start talking, they'll say something, and I'll be like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Stop. They want to talk. They want to talk. Hear them out. Never end the call without offering a free consultation. Hey, we have time today. We'll work around your schedule. Like right now, 11:30 is our best time. Man, I can't make it till 4. Oh, that's okay. I'll be in the middle of a tattoo, but that's even better because you could check out what I'm doing. Come on in, check out the artist, get a feel for the shop, get comfortable. Come on in, grab a water, sit down, watch me work. We can chit chat. If you like, I'll take a break and we'll have a conversation. You see what I'm saying? Like, just smile. A free consultation, that's already incentive. And again, I don't like free stuff, but like it works, and I'm learning that from you guys and I have to take it from you guys. Now, if you're answering the phone and you're giving information, that's all good. But again, the very last thing that should be said or close to the last thing is, would you like to come in for a free consultation? They can't, and you already know this, they can't not do that. You know what I mean? So, like Jesse, I really plan on staying with you guys for a long time.
All right. Cool. Perfect. There we go. Can you guys see my screen again? Okay, cool. And again, I know sales stuff, tattoo shop owners and tattoo artists think it's kind of corny, but it does make a huge difference. Like he spent $1,500 on ads. He's made $32,000. One of the biggest things with him is how he talks to people with why he's been so successful. Um, Especially like I said, I can't tell you how many calls I've listened to where either the tattoo artist or the front desk person picks up and they sound like they fucking hate their life. It's just not a good introduction for the first contact point of somebody going to your shop. And again, it doesn't have to be this fake smile, this fake personality. My analogy I always use is like you talk to your mom different than you talk to your kids, different than you talk to your friend, different than you talk to your wife. Um, People really can't tell over the phone if you're actually interested in what they're saying or not. And it does make a gigantic difference. Again, like what he said is true. Like these days, tattoo artists need clients typically more than clients need tattoo artists. There's just so many tattoo shops out there now. And again, you don't have to be this fake smiley person, but just actually taking interest in them goes a insanely long way. If you don't want to do it, you don't have a front desk person, stuff like that, you can always hire a salesperson for an affordable cost. Um, we have an appointment setter for Inkling that sets appointments for the shops that we work with. All we did when I hired her was had SOPs like this is what to say on the calls, texts, emails, DMs. And again, it's a rough outline. Obviously, no call is going to be like right off a script. That would sound terrible. Um, but you can use Indeed to post a job in South Africa or in Colombia. Have the second part of the interview be a video of them introducing yourself because the biggest thing is making sure they have amazing English, which again, South Africa, oh, that's their native language there. Um, and you can pay them $800 a month plus $5 for every consultation that shows up. That is the cheapest salesperson you'll ever find, and they come with sales experience. It's been a game changer for a lot of shops. Um, we hired Amber. She's awesome, bubbly personality. She books so many consultations. And for shops that are having people like problems getting people in, just implementing her made complete 180. Again, it's about the experience these days. It's not as much about the work as it was 10 years ago, which is weird to say, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but that's how it is. Um, all right, almost done. I know I've had you guys for almost 2 hours. So tools to use for finance, get sequence. If you have problems spending money like I do, automating it is super helpful. I put more into my investments and retirement account than I ever did in my life after I started using this and couldn't touch my own money except the stuff I need. For SEO, Search Atlas if you want to do your own SEO. Neil Patel, probably butchered that. If you just want to see for free where you're ranking, GT metrics to check your site speed. SEMrush if you want to dive deeper into SEO. And get a lot of analytics on you and your competitors and other shops. CRMs, high level, does a ton, steep learning curve. Tattoo Pro, built by tattoo shop owners for tattoo shop owners and artists. They will help onboard you. Meta Ads, the Facebook Ads Library, and SpyFu, Google Ads, the Google Keyword Planner, Google Ads Transparency Center, and also SpyFu. They tell you around how much they're spending, what their conversion rates are on clicks and stuff like that. So you get a lot better idea of how well the ads are doing. And the last thing I'll talk about before Q&A is what Inkling does for the shops we work with. It take like 3 minutes. If you want to jump off now, it's not going to hurt my feelings, but I will jump into it. So essentially what we do is get more clients through the doors of tattoo shops every month. We do a lot with Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Google ads. We essentially aren't here to get you more likes, clicks, followers, anything like that. We're here to do pretty much everything we talked about outside of SEO to actually get you people either on the phone, if you guys answer your phone, or in the shop for a face-to-face consultation. And our biggest thing that we really pride ourselves on is the targeting, making sure it's people that one, like obviously your style of work, but can afford it. Like we work with an artist who has a $4,000 minimum that's been with us for years. Like the people are out there spending the money in every town. So many people in in the US get tattooed every day. You just need to get in front of them at the right people at the right time, and that is a game changer for any shop. Um, Yep, getting clients with ads, face-to-face consultations, getting clients organically. Like I said, we set up the CRM, we set up the waiver and consent form, the digital one to get you reviews, like everything we've talked about. Here's our two programs. One is essentially we'll do Google or Meta advertising. The bigger one will do both. It's a 4-month agreement, month to month after that. And then if you want a book, a call with us, I just threw a link in the chat. If you're interested in working with us, like I just went over in my sales process, I'm not a pushy salesperson. The whole thing is just to learn about you, the shop, and see if we'd be a good fit for you guys. But I don't push anybody into trying to work with us. So if you're interested, and if not, again, doesn't hurt my feelings. Q&A. I know that was almost 2 hours. It was a lot of stuff. What questions can I answer for you guys? You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. No questions. All right. Awesome. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, I know that was a lot of information. Um, whoop. What tool or platform would you recommend for this? Organize it. Client database. So pretty much any of those list builders are secure. Pretty much any of those list builders I said, or another way to get a past client list is if you go into your payment processor, you could typically export everybody that's paid at your shop. CS, if you want to export as a CSV file, that's how you upload it. But you could always, if you export it in like an Excel file, you can always change it to a CSV. Next seminar, that is a good question. Probably a little over a month. I'd say the second week of January, we'll do it on Facebook ads. How to advertise New York guest spots or conventions, Facebook and Instagram ads. We have a ton of shops that do conventions, artists that do conventions. We have a few artists that literally just go from guest spot to guest spot. I wouldn't do Google ads. It takes some time to get it rolling. Facebook and Instagram ads is how we always run ads for guest spots, conventions, stuff like that. Connor, you can book a call if you want to set up, man. I'd love to talk with you. How does your system work for solo artists? So I'd say 30%, 25 to 30% of our clients are solo artists. We essentially tailor it for like we don't have a cookie cutter program where it's like everybody gets the same thing. There's a ton of flexibility in what we do. So it just depends how you're set up. But 25 to 30% of who we work with are solo artists. They either have their own shop or do the guest spots and just travel, which is awesome. Um, or they actually work in other people's shops. Melissa, do you want me to unmute you or do you want to shoot me a text? Ooh, awesome. Looking forward to talking with you, man. Website creator or builder you recommend? My favorite and what we use is WordPress with Elementor plugin. That makes it a kind of drag and drop builder. It's much easier. Wix is fairly easy too, and you do everything you need. But those are the two. So either WordPress with Elementor or Wix. And Melissa, let me find you real quick. Okay, you should have a thing to unmute.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm going to back you up a bit. There was a point where you said in your responses to the clients, you had a basic price point that you would give in your response.
Mhm.
I did that at one point, and I found that it was harder to get clients because I could not quantify with them in an email, per se, uh, what value I brought to the table. So when you're looking at something like that, how would you approach that? Would you put in your price point, or would you continue to say, come in for your free consultation?
So we always put the price point in the form when they're filling it out for a consultation. When you're actually communicating with the client, yeah, I never recommend giving out any pricing. Because typically if somebody said, and we actually just had this happen, they're like 500 is too much. Okay, just come in for the free consultation. We'll work with it. And they ended up spending $800 because when they're in person, if they like you, they like their work, they're always willing to spend more than they say. But we like to put it in the form when they're requesting a consultation just to kind of weed out people that um, like can't afford anything at all or like would just want a $30 banger in the shop minimums. $150, but I would never discuss like exact pricing via text or via email, either in person or if you do Zoom consultation, that's a good time to price it too. Because yeah, meeting you and seeing what you bring is a huge part of like the experience that and people figuring out they want that experience with you.
Yeah, I even when I put like just the basic price point, if I had someone who was looking for, you know, it's harder to sell them on something when they just say how much,
Mm.
even if it's not a basic, even if you're just saying this is what the minimum is. So I was just trying to figure out what your analytics were in regards to that as far as how that translated.
Where are these people coming from? Like, are they coming from ads? Are they organically finding you?
Most come in from the website or through referrals through Facebook, community pages, stuff like that.
Got it. That's one of the reasons I like to do the range of like a 4 inch by 4 inch tattoo. So they kind of get an idea, but it could be cheaper, it could be more expensive. Um, that would be my biggest thing I would say is, and again, if you're not having issues with people who can afford it, who cannot afford it, it's not as big a deal. But like if they just want a price over the phone or something like that, like I just say I don't do pricing over the phone. Like I need to see you, how big it is, stuff like that. Because if they're not willing to even come in, they're probably not really, they're probably more of a tire kicker than somebody that actually
Right,
wants to get tattooed.
right. That's what I figured. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Um, Catherine, could you please spell the last one? Could you remind me the last one of what, please? Awesome, Vu. Looking forward to it, man. Yeah, there are, oh, Wix, Wix. Um, yeah, Connor, there are a lot of people price shopping and stuff like that. Sorry, just caring about how cheap stuff is, but there are still plenty of people that are willing to spend the money to get tattooed. That's the one of the reasons I like paid ads is you get to decide who actually sees your ads versus like organic, it's literally anybody. Um, Being able to say, hey, this only reason way this person can see my ads is if they're in the top 50% income or they're a nurse or a doctor, or a lawyer, or a firefighter, like guarantees you typically that they have that disposable income. With organic, it's much harder to filter people out. I think the biggest thing would be, or I would say the biggest thing would be selling them more on the experience, just actually getting them into the shop. Again, um, being friendly, offer them a water, make that experience like a friend's coming into your shop. Because that experience, like I've seen it so many times, like people are willing to pay more than they say they are if they like you, if they like your work, like they feel like they're going to be comfortable sitting there with you for 8 hours or 4 hours or whatever. So again, with organic, it is much harder because you don't get to target who you want to see your ads or yeah, see your stuff. Uh, any other questions for me, guys? No? All right. Well, give me probably till Friday. I'll send out the replay. If you have any questions, you can text that phone number that you got the notifications from, and I will get it. Um, Give me about 2 to 3 weeks, probably end of this month. I'll send out the notification for the next webinar we're going to do. And again, it will be on um, running Facebook ads, and we'll walk you through from literally finding the ad manager to building out an ad and actually running it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And if not, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Happy holidays, everybody.